All right, today I'm doing something fun. My team found a bunch of TikToks giving YouTube advice specifically for business owners, and I have no idea what I'm about to watch. I haven't seen these before. But here's the thing though. After helping hundreds of service businesses build client-generating YouTube channels, I can already tell you that most conventional YouTube advice is completely backwards if you're trying to get actual paying clients. So let's separate the gems from the garbage together, because following the wrong advice could waste months of your time. Here we go.
If you live in these countries, do not create a YouTube channel. For me personally, living in Australia on my YouTube channels, we get around $5 to $8 CPM. Now CPM is our cost per mile, and that's how much we get paid per 1,000 views. But what country has the absolute worst CPM? You've got countries like Greece and Turkey.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this now. So basically this one is all about making ad revenue off of your YouTube videos, which is not really the point here. What I like to tell you guys to do is use YouTube not as a play to make ad revenue, because he's right. I mean, you make shockingly little depending on what niche you're in. There's all kinds of roadblocks in your way. You've got to get like 4,000 watch hours. You've got to get to 1,000 subscribers. I might have gotten that mixed up. I'm not sure. Point being, there's way more money to be made through client generation from YouTube rather than just focusing on how much YouTube is going to pay you directly. So definitely worry less about the ad revenue and more about the client generating power. That's the true power of YouTube.
One of the easiest ways to make your YouTube channel more effective is by adding a channel trailer. What do you include in a channel trailer? It could be an introduction of you or your business, an overview of the type of content you produce, a highlight reel of your video content, maybe something about your uploading schedule, and it's important that you have a compelling call to action.
Okay, so he's talking about putting a channel trailer on your YouTube channel page, right? So a lot of people do this and it can work pretty well. Here's the thing though. That relies on people coming to your YouTube page to begin with. That's not going to be most people. Most people are just going to find you through searching, or your videos are going to show up on their homepage. So I think my best advice here is not saying he's wrong. It's good to have one. If you're going to do it, it can be a couple things. It can either talk about what you stand to learn on this channel, right? Make it about the viewer and what they're going to learn. Do not make it about your business and about your services, that kind of thing. Don't do that. Or if you have nothing else, it can just be your highest performing video. But you got to know going in, only like very warm leads who've probably watched a couple of your videos already are ever going to make it to your channel page. And they're probably just going to go right down and see what other videos you got. So I would just say don't spend any real time making this.
The only two metrics you need to worry about on YouTube is click-through rate and average viewer duration. Click-through rate is the percentage of people who click on your video who see it on their feed. So if 10 people see it, but 7 people click, that's a 70% click-through rate.
Yes, okay. So click-through rate is a really interesting one though, because people always equate higher click-through rate means better, right? If it's 20%, it must be amazing. If it's 5%, it must be bad. Here's the hidden logic here though that most people don't think about. When you put out a new video, it goes out automatically to your most loyal viewers, the people who watch your videos all the time. That means your click-through rate is going to be high to start with. It's going to be maybe up to 10%, which by the way is pretty high when it comes to YouTube videos. But then let's say it does well with your core viewership. What YouTube does then is it broadens you out and it shows you to new people who've never seen you before. Suddenly, you are reaching new audiences, which is what you want. However, it comes at a cost because people who don't know you will click through less. So what you'll find is the more viral your video goes, the lower your click-through rate's gonna be. That's why click-through rate isn't always what it's cracked up to be. You don't always want it to be the highest.
What influences a click? It is not the video you make. This is why people have it backwards. They're like, I'm gonna make the best video in the world, but they don't think about the psychology behind somebody actually clicking on that video. So you put all this energy on a video and you're like, man, it's getting no views. Well, because the title and the thumbnail wasn't convincing enough to want to even get the click.
Yeah, so this is really good advice. And he's basically saying, you gotta really think about your title and thumbnail before you even go to make your video, because here's the thing. If you can't figure out a proper way to sell your video before you even make it, it's probably not worth making. So I like people to think about at least what the title is going to be and at least a rough concept for the thumbnail. not saying you have to make your thumbnail before you make your video. A lot of gurus will tell you to do that. I think it's enough just to have a good concept for it. But you need to know what it's going to be so that your intro, your hook to your video can really line up with it very closely. You don't want it to hit on a different angle than what your thumbnail and title promise, for instance.
How many people here make YouTube shorts every day? Raise your hand. 4. Let me explain to you why this is a major opportunity. Unlike Instagram Reels, unlike TikTok, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. That YouTube short can live for a very long time. When you name the video, you think about naming it for people that are searching. Just taking the video that you're doing on Instagram and TikTok, bringing it over to YouTube Short, and just naming it smartly from a search perspective will disproportionately grow the opportunity of your awareness and branding.
So here's the thing with shorts on YouTube. He's right. They are a good search play. When people type something into YouTube or even on Google, a lot of times YouTube Shorts will come up as an answer to that question. So they do beat, TikTok and Instagram for that reason. You put a short video on Instagram, it is gone tomorrow, right? It'll get maybe a day's worth of views and then that's it. But when people are searching, that is a good thing, and it does get you in front of the right people at the right time. The problem becomes it can definitely mess with your numbers. When you're trying to see what's working in your YouTube studio behind the scenes, your shorts can really kind of mess with what you're seeing, and I prefer to not include shorts in my YouTube strategy personally. I've tried it. I didn't find that it was super helpful. You can get a lot of views out of the gate. That's the good part. The bad part is these are very shallow views. You don't go deep with them in the time of a short. That's why I prefer long form content. So I would rather see you go deep in one video per week. That's gonna get you much more mileage out of that video.
Nobody wants to follow a brand account. I would much rather follow a founder account and see them build in public.
Okay, let's talk about what she just said because she is spot on.
Okay, so this is gonna be meta because I'm reacting to someone reacting to a TikTok, so here we go.
What she's essentially saying is that if you are a business owner, people do not want to follow your business account. They want to follow you. People today care so much less about the end result and want to see the raw, behind the scenes, authentic footage of what it took to actually build the business or brand.
I feel like this is half right, okay? I do agree with the sentiment that you're gonna do way better on YouTube if it's like you as a personality and you're talking about what you know, your expertise, as opposed to if you were wearing your uniform shirt and you had like your logo behind you and everything and it was businessy, right? If it's just more real, it's gonna feel a lot more authentic to most people. She is saying though, which I kind of feel like is a little on the wrong track, is it's not that people want to see the behind the scenes of how you started your business or what goes into doing what you do. That's a certain kind of video that I think, belongs on any good company channel, but only one piece of it. What you want to be talking about is helpful content. So you're helping people get to the result that you could get them if they paid you for it, but you're kind of getting them like a lower level version of it on their own DIY style. That's what I would focus on if I were you, not these like behind the scenes glimpses of your business. I don't think people care too much about that. You can sprinkle them in here and there once you have an audience, but I'd wait on that.
Why can't people get this through their heads? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or any other short form platform out there are entertainment-based platforms. You have no idea how many business owners I see come onto TikTok and post videos like this.
Hey y'all, this is Rufus from Rufus's Really Ridiculous Roofing. We're the #1 manufacturer of roofs in Little Rock, Arkansas. If you want a roof, you should hit the link in my bio because we will put a roof on your roof in Little Rock, Arkansas. We make the best roofs at Rufus's Really Ridiculous Roofing Company.
Okay.
You have to remember that unless you're Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, nobody cares about your business whatsoever. They don't care what you do, how much you sell your product or service for, or who your clients are.
And this goes along with what I was just saying, right? No one cares about you and your business. That's not what your YouTube channel is about. It's about helping people with their problems, and then they watch a couple of your videos and they start to just naturally think, okay, you know what? I don't want to do this myself. I want Rufus's roofing company, whatever, to do it for me because I trust them and they're giving me good advice, and they seem to know what they're doing, so I'm just gonna call them.
But what they do care about is the personalities behind that brand and what happens in that business from the day to day. So if you specialize in roofing, you don't want to make a video like I showed you before. You want to talk about things like what your margins are, how hard it is, how long it takes you to do this, and other funny that just happens on the job every day.
No. If you're a roofer and you're trying to find clients, you do not want to talk about what your margins are. Yeah, if you're talking to other roofers and your channel is for other roofers helping them start their own business, fine. But if you're trying to get clients, you're not going to be talking about your business at all. You're not going to talk about what goes into it. You're helping people with helpful content. That's all it is.
The reason big YouTubers are wrong about their advice for YouTube or streaming is because they've already made it. They don't struggle with it anymore. They don't have to think on the same level that you do. If you watch a big YouTuber's videos and you notice that they don't have any tags in their tag description, or it's just like their name, they don't use any long descriptions. Sometimes they don't even have to use sensible titles. They just say poop and they get 1 million views because they're already there. Who you actually need to listen to is not people who have made it or people who got full-time 8 years ago and haven't had to compete since. You need to listen to the people who are in the weeds right now building their channels, who are in that middle ground.
Interesting. Okay, so I will push back on that a little bit. What he's not thinking about is everybody who's big today had to get there, right? They did not come out of the womb a YouTuber with 1 million subscribers. I've got like almost 400,000 subscribers now. It took me a long time to get to where I am now, and I had a lot to learn to get here. So I feel like that does make me qualified to kind of, teach others and talk to you about what it took for me to get there and how you can do the same. The problem with taking advice from people who are already in the weeds is, do they have it figured out? Do they know any better than you do? Whenever you're doing anything new, you want to learn from people who are a few steps ahead of you, not in the same level as you. I don't get that advice at all.
What do you think about buying views or subscribers to grow faster? I do not recommend it. It's only going to mess your channel up. They're either just bots, so they'll be inactive. There's a ratio to the amount of subscribers you have when you release a new video and how your subscribers interact with that video. The quote unquote only reason to buy views or subscribers would be for vanity numbers. Just so someone could do a drive-by in your channel and be like, oh, wow, there's a good amount of views and subscribers. That's just vanity. It's just pure optics. Doesn't make any difference into actual sustainable YouTube growth. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is you get some subscribers that now are not active. They're not clicking on your new videos. Therefore, YouTube is not getting the right signals. The algorithm is not being triggered properly. It's in a way confusing the algorithm. I would just avoid it with a 24-yard stick.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Sean's right here. So don't worry about subscribers at all. Subscribers are not where it's at. I've seen channels who have 100 subscribers or less, but they get the right viewers to their videos who become clients. All the channels you watch, how many of them do you subscribe to? I subscribe to almost nobody anymore because I know that you don't need to do that anymore. When you watch a video on YouTube and you watch a couple from the same person, YouTube just shows you more from that person. You just watching their videos is a much bigger signal to YouTube to show you more and more of their videos. So I won't say the idea of subscribers is completely dead, but it's definitely not what it used to be. It's all about watch time. But even then, don't ever pay for any of these things unnaturally. It's not gonna do you any good. Because like you said, hey, you're getting the wrong viewers. Even if they're real, they're probably just bots, like you said. But if they are real, you're getting the wrong people watching, and they're probably not gonna watch for the whole video, which is gonna send all your numbers into a tailspin. And let's say they do watch the whole video. Now, your numbers are artificially inflated and you don't know what's working and what's not working for real people. So leave it clean. I would say don't even tell your friends and family to watch your videos. I would go so far as to say that. Unless they are the right demographic to be watching your videos and they're in the market for what you're selling, don't even have people watching who shouldn't be watching. It just makes it harder for YouTube to know who to actually show your video to.
If you're just starting YouTube, here's a super quick tip that you should take into consideration, especially if you have 0 videos up, like literally nothing. Batch 5 videos. Batching 5 videos is going to help your audience figure out like, okay, what is it that I want to do with this person? Like, do I actually want to follow them or what?
Okay. I do like the advice of batching videos, not for the reason she said though. When podcasting was like, I'm not gonna say podcasting is not big, but when people were trying to use it more for client generation, there was advice out there that said, you don't launch a podcast without like having at least 4 episodes because of that reason. Like if someone finds it, you want them to be able to listen to your other ones and be able to catch on. But with YouTube, I don't think that's necessary because especially the thing about YouTube is you are not gonna catch on right away. You're just not. Do not expect any results for the first few months. So putting up 5 videos at once really doesn't do you any good. But I will say batching is very smart just for a productivity standpoint, right? I used to, when I started, I would do 1 video at a time. Now I do batches of like 2 months at a time. That lets me write them all at the same time, then film them all at the same time. Then I just give them all to my editor and he works on them all at the same time. So it's a productivity hack. It's highly recommended.
If you can make them bingeable, meaning like, can you watch all 5 of them at once? When I did mine, I did 5 videos about Instagram, like the regular stuff, right? Like profile, highlights, how to create highlights, what is the best link in bio? Because all of it made sense together. Like it was like step 1, 2, 3, basically what you have to do with your Instagram.
It's not bad advice, except for the part where it might stop you from getting going, right? Because then now you're in the weeds of thinking like, okay, what are the 5 things I can do that all go together? Just make the videos. Start with FAQ videos, start easy, start small, then get into like listicle type videos. They will naturally be bingeable because they will be around a niche topic. Batch them at the same time, but then release them week after week. One video will lead into the next. You know, at the end of a video, you'll say, now watch this video right here that I made before. It's much more natural than what she's making it sound like. She's making it sound like you have to like bake in bingeability in the beginning. You really don't have to. The more videos you make, the bigger back catalog you'll have of different videos you can link them to, and it all becomes very easy as you start building that audience over time.
Best ways to promote your YouTube video is to actually have your own Facebook group. When you've actually got your own Facebook community, you've already got members inside of your community that know, like, and trust you. One of the good things about having your own Facebook group is you can actually use the @everyone feature to bring everyone back to your group and to keep your group top of mind. But one of the things that you should do is to have a day and a time where you are going to release that video on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna stop here because there's a couple things going on. I am not a huge fan of ever trying to promote a YouTube video that you make on another platform. Here's the reason for that. Whenever you are pushing someone from one platform to another, you gotta ask yourself, how in the mood for this content are they right now? You want people to be in the YouTube video watching mindset before they ever push play in your video, because think about it. What YouTube looks at the most is watch time. So if you send them from a Facebook group to that video, they're gonna click on it out of curiosity. They're gonna watch it for 5 seconds and think, I'm not really in a YouTube-y, watchy mood right now, right? Then they're gonna abandon the video. All of a sudden your numbers are in a tailspin. The thing is, YouTube has built-in mechanisms for funneling people to your video when they're in that mindset. They're searching for that topic. Or YouTube knows that this person's into this kind of video and it's on their homepage and they're already on YouTube. They're there to watch a video. So I never like bringing people to YouTube. It has to be their idea. They're gonna watch it for a lot longer.
I'm like putting out tips like the gurus told me to do. I'm posting tips all the time. Why am I not converting that into clients? Is that you? Yeah, it happens. It happens to everyone. Okay, take out a piece of paper. We're gonna do this today. Okay, so think about it. Whenever you look at some sort of like workout online, right? You save it and you pretend like you're actually gonna put it into practice, but then you don't. But you don't necessarily think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go work with that person, right? So let's shift your strategy. Let's start off with verbatim. Instead of saying, here's some exercise for your glutes, say something like, here's how I got my client to get a massive dump. When you say the word like clients, or here's how I got this person some sort of result, you put it in your audience's mind that you can do the same for them.
Yeah, I love this advice. This is exactly how I teach it too. So basically what she's saying is, if you don't plant that seed of you working with clients and you doing this for people for money, they're never gonna connect that dot. So what you wanna do is just be smart about it and be clever. And every now and then, make mentions, just casual mentions of your clients. That's generally all you have to do. You never have to sell in your videos. You give the tips, you give the advice, and then just casually like bring in the story of the person who you helped get a result with this tip or with this advice. Or my client, before they came to me, this was the myth that they believed in. But now that we've worked together, they've accomplished this. So it's super smart advice.
I'm going to let you in on a little YouTube advertising secret. Did you know you can create a custom segment of people and advertise to them? So on YouTube, you can just like throw a video out there and just like spray and pray. But if you know who your customer is and you drill down and go into custom segments and create an audience that literally is based off of what they've searched, what they watch, apps they have on their phone, all of this, right? You can get in front of these people on YouTube for a much cheaper cost, in my opinion, when it comes to conversions.
Yeah, so he's describing YouTube ads. This is a little different than what I normally talk about, but I've definitely used them and I've used this kind of strategy before. So the way I like to use YouTube ads, if you're gonna do it, like let's say you're selling a service, you would want to retarget people who have watched your videos like in the past week, 2 days, whatever that is. And then those people are gonna be much more likely to turn into clients than people who've never seen you before. So you can do it that way, or you can do what he's talking about. Let's say you're a chiropractor, right? You can aim your ads at anybody who is typing anything for like how to fix my back or whatever those keywords would be. And then you can also layer in your local area. So the danger there is though, if they've not watched your video, they're not really warmed up to you. That's why I like to make it people who've watched one of my videos in the past couple days.
Here's what you should have in your description box under your YouTube video. Copy and paste your title onto your description box. Next is to write a short summary of what the video is about. Add your email address so brands can reach out to you. Next, you want to promote your social everywhere. And of course, credit the artist.
Okay, there's a lot going on here and I disagree with most of it. So let's go. She's saying just to repeat your title in the description. No reason to do that. If you have a search term you're going for, and I do recommend you start with searchable videos when you're new, you don't need to put the whole title in the description. Whatever search term you want, you do want that in the description as well. Ideally a couple times, just for good SEO value. You do not want to put your email address in your description. That is going to lead to you getting massive amounts of spam email. I don't recommend doing that. She said, lead them back to your socials. Don't do that. Why are you sending them out to your socials? Send them to your website where they can then get in touch with you on your contact form that you have there. I prefer to funnel them to where we can get some business, you know?
3 different posting schedules for your YouTube channel depending on how aggressive you want to be with your YouTube growth. Implemented each one of these strategies for myself or for my clients, and we've seen amazing results. If you're looking for long-term consistent growth, this is the first strategy that I offer to my clients. I encourage 1 long-form video per week plus 1 repurposed short per day, Monday through Friday.
Okay, interesting. Repurposed shorts. I don't mind these, but again, we come back to that issue of it can kind of muck up your channel and your numbers. But if you're gonna do shorts, I do think repurposing from your longs is a good idea. And you can really easily do that with AI tools like Opus Clip. So it just finds those like little bits that make sense on their own with that extra context. You can get 5 little short clips out of it, Monday through Friday. It could work.
If you're looking to be a little more aggressive, then we go to the expedited YouTube growth strategy. 1 to 2 long-form videos a week, plus 1 to 2 shorts per day, repurposed Monday through Friday.
Okay, so I like this because I have heard, and I'm starting this now, like by the time you see this, we're on a 2-a-week schedule now. We went from a 1 YouTube video a week schedule to 2. Just gonna test it out, but I have heard from people who I trust in the YouTube space that 2 is kind of the perfect number to put out every week. Do you have to do that? No. I've gotten up to almost 400,000 subscribers and a lot of growth in the past 8 years with just 1 video a week. So you don't have to do 2. I'm just gonna see how it plays out though.
Now this last one's not for the faint of heart. This is the exponential YouTube growth strategy. 1 long form video per day.
1 long a day is not going to get you exponential growth unless you were in a news kind of space, right? If it's entertainment based, people will watch your video every day, but then those become disposable videos very quickly, which is not the way I recommend using YouTube. You should be using YouTube for evergreen content that people can find today, tomorrow, a year from now, 3 years from now. One video a day, what happens is you put it out today, then you put your next one out tomorrow, and it steps on the traction that yesterday's video was getting. So it never gets a chance to really fully blossom and blow up into the video it could have become. You do not want to go daily, trust me, and again, unless it's entertainment and you're making videos that are not really meant to last more than the day you put them out, in which case you might as well just be doing Instagram at that point.
YouTube Shorts is the biggest waste of time, and here's why. Just the other month, I was talking about how YouTube Shorts are gonna change the game. It's gonna be amazing for creators, make more money, grow channels, and do all of this cool shit.
That used to be the pervasive logic out there, but I feel like people are changing their mind on it now.
This is one of the Shorts channels that I've grown, and we got over 700,000 views in just 1 week. Yet after being monetized, we were making $4, $5, $7 a day, and after 700,000 views, we didn't even make $40.
Okay, so he's just basically talking about that in terms of how much money you can make from the ad revenue, and he's right, you can make very little through that. But even with client generation, it's just not as good. People will find one video of yours, it's 30 seconds long, they'll take your tip and they'll immediately forget about you. It's very unlikely they're gonna keep finding more and more and more of yours. Concentrate on longs, you're gonna get so much more out of it.
Here's how to script your YouTube videos to get more views. The framework I use in every single video goes hook, content, transition. The hook is your intro. It's the opening moments of your video. And you want to do this as seamlessly as possible, so it really flows from the hook straight into the content. For my hooks, I really like to write those out word for word because I want it so precise. But when it comes to the overall content that I'm sharing in the video, oftentimes I just like to use bullet points and I'll just improv.
Yeah, I like Nolan's advice here. This is going to come down to a personal choice at the end of the day. I like to script. A video like this, I'm not scripting, like I'm just talking off the cuff here, but normal videos, I like to script it out really tightly, put it in a teleprompter, and just act as if I'm not reading from a script, right? Some people prefer the bullet point scenario. I found that when I would do it that way, I would just get really tripped up on my words most of the time, and I'd have a really hard time saying what I wanted to say, and it would take me a long time to make a video. But once I started scripting it, and I got good at really scripting it in a way that sounded natural, like the way I actually speak, everything became a lot easier. But you have to have a teleprompter to do that. His other advice to tightly script the hook is very smart, because the hook is way too important to riff on. It's got to say all the right things and draw people in such a way. So I like to really control that tightly.
Do you really want to transition someone into another YouTube video by utilizing an end screen card? That way, when you get a new viewer who watches your video and they watch it all the way to the end, instead of just watching one video, they go and watch another video, and that's how you can get 2 views instead of 1.
Yep, that is super important. But what I will say is I don't recommend doing it the way he has it here, with a card that makes it painfully obvious that we're at the end of the video. I like to be a little more stealth. You're teaching in your video, you're talking about what you're talking about. Then when you get to a certain point, you say something like, well, now that we know that, if you don't know this in this video, it was kind of all for nothing, or now this is the next thing you need to know if you're gonna make all this work. So click right here. That's how I would do it, rather than alert everybody with a fancy graphic that makes it look like the video's over, if that makes sense. But it's super important to get people to that next video. That's how you create the binge content, because if someone watches one of your videos, YouTube's fairly likely to show them another one. But once they've watched 2 of your videos, it's really likely that they're gonna start showing more of your videos on their homepage, or you're gonna be higher up in their next search. So highly recommend getting them to come back for more and more and more.
Viral YouTube title structure part 2. The scam blank doesn't want you to know. So for the area blank, you're going to include the topic that you're going to be talking about. So the scam home builders don't want you to know. The scam banks don't want you to know.
This is probably smart, but here's the thing. If you are a newer YouTuber, you want to make sure that you're leaning into searchable titles, okay? What he's describing is what we call a discoverable title. Those are the ones you see when you just go to YouTube and you look at your homepage. It's carefully curated for you of all the people you like to watch and the topics you like. You would see a video like that, not having searched for it and be like, oh, that sounds interesting. Here's the problem. The worst advice you could follow right now if you're new is to go after viral topics. You want to focus when you're new on making titles that people are searching for. Because until you do that, YouTube doesn't know who is interested in your videos. You can absolutely graduate to those discoverable titles and topics, but only after you've built up a bit of an audience base and YouTube knows what kind of people like to watch your channel, right? I like to say, if you're making weekly videos, I'd say give it 6 to 8 months of searchable topics before you ever even start going in this direction.
If you don't have any money in 2025, these are the two things you need to do. And this is both for businesses and creators. It's 2025 and still people come to me and say, Konstantinos, I don't have time for videos. I'm so busy. At the same time, they're complaining about not having clients. So I don't really understand how this works. They're busy without clients. But what the fuck are you doing exactly? It's very, very simple. If you don't create content for your business, you're gonna have so much time because you will be out of business. So here are the two types of content you need to create today.
That's a really good point.
For the next 90 days, go to ChatGPT, ask for the top frequently asked questions in your niche, and if you cannot reply them yourself through video, ask ChatGPT to generate the script for you, and just open your camera and start shooting, showcasing your authority.
Yeah, I love that. And I've said it already in this video. That is the easiest possible place to start when you're on your video journey, because like your first videos are your hardest ones to do, right? Because you don't really have the confidence yet. You don't really know what you're doing yet. So just answering FAQs is the easiest possible thing you can do to get going. And ChatGPT, especially now with like these deep research capabilities, it's gonna be indispensable. It's gonna be such a good resource for you to help you kind of figure out what are those FAQs if you don't already know. You probably already have a good idea, right? If you're working with clients, you know what they ask you all the time, but that might be like 5 that you know about, but what about the other 15 or 20, right? It can help you find a lot more, so don't sleep on that as a tactic.
The second part is long form. Nothing beats searchable content in Google and YouTube. This is the best lead generation tactic even today. So you're gonna get the same topics and you're gonna elaborate through long form, either written with your blog or with long YouTube videos, being present every time a potential client searches for help, for answers. So do that for 90 days and you're gonna have monetization opportunities, new leads, and ideas you never had before.
Preach. This is so true. Anyone who doubts that YouTube is the way to go in 2025, I just think you're missing out. But when it comes to TikTok advice, I am just getting started here. So let's watch some more together in this video right here, where I'm gonna be separating the good from the bad marketing advice so that you can grow your business this year when a lot of your competitors are gonna be losing ground. So some of this stuff is gold and some of it's really dangerous, and you won't know the difference unless you come along with me by clicking this video right here. So click here, let's have some more fun right now.